From the time I started my craft, some of the values I've learned, the first one probably is being authentic to yourself. As an artist, there's so much that happens each and every day. Waves come in, you can either decide to ride a wave or do something that's trending, but that dies down eventually. If I describe Trevor in 3 words, I'd say coffee addict, introvert, adrenaline junkie. I wouldn't know if it's a talent or a skill, but it's been a minute. I can play the drum set and the guitar. I would say those are my hidden talents. For the Kenyan song, I'd probably say I am Midnight Train, Sauti Soul, always on the move, trying to evolve. All of them have worked out. You learn how to make things work, even if things are going south. You just adapt to the situation and create something out of it. From a technician point of view, where I was so used to planning things going in a certain order, coming to film or this creative space, one thing I've learned to appreciate or rather work with is things change on the go. So it's just adapting and learning to work with what I have. So one thing I like about Kenya in the travel space is there's so much diversity. You can get desert areas, that's up the north, the coastal areas. There's so much in Kenya that when you travel outside to other places, you can find, like, I'll give an example. In Hong Kong, it's either cityscapes and a few islands. In Kenya, there's so much to do. It's like an infinity loop from the Mara, coastal, north side. So it's the culture, food, there's so much. I have so many good moments when it comes to traveling in Kenya. But I'd say the worst moments are, it's hard to travel in Kenya. There are so many, I wouldn't say restrictions, but it's like we're locked out in our own country. It's more of Kenya is for the outsiders. So some places you'll get you don't have access to, or before getting the access to, it's a nightmare. But apart from that, there are so many good moments. From meeting people, getting to see places you never thought that exist. So yeah, it's a weight scale. There's a balance to every side of it. Places that probably people don't know of is probably Kajiado. Kajiado has interesting spots, from Airbnbs to camping sites. Then there's the northern area, which is a bit difficult to get to, but I haven't done most of it, but it's on the top of my to-do list. It's one of those places I'd also tell people to just go out there and experience. Because as Kenyans, we're so used to the coastal, then back to Nairobi, coastal. So yeah, I tell people to explore more. In terms of style, I think of myself as a person who evolves. Looking back from when I started till now, my work shifts from places to places depending on the type of story. Yes, I do love travel, yes, I love landscapes, but it evolves with time. Like recently I've been shooting people, I've done documentaries, so I don't know how someone would look at my work and say that is Trevor's. I see it as a personal. People have different ways that they describe my work, which is the interesting part of it. It's not like how you look at a car and you know that's a Toyota. For me, my work evolves, speaks to people differently and touches people emotionally differently. Every piece is different because I've shot people, I've done landscapes. I mean, everything just has a different story. So it's hard to narrow down to one specific piece and say, this is my best piece of work. I just love everything as is. So from the time I started my craft, some of the values I've learned, the first one probably is being authentic to yourself. As an artist, there's so much that happens each and every day. Waves come in, you can either decide to ride a wave or do something that's trending, but that dies down eventually. So as an artist, one of the things that I'm constantly trying to push or stick to is being authentic to myself. Telling my stories how I do them, just not because things have changed, that means I change with what's happening at the moment. I try not to do that. I try to have a voice. In the creative space or in my line of work, there are so many pet peeves. I mean, when working with clients, every client is different. There are those clients that are, we want this done. So I think while working with clients, for me, it's always a collaboration. You're coming to me for a specific reason, simply because how I tell a story, right? So if you want something done in a certain way, I'll have to put in my input. If you do not want that, it's unfortunately, I'll have to say no. Because for me, it's my way of telling a story. It's not just a one-sided way. So if you just want a story told your way, in most cases, that doesn't work for me. So sometimes I do say no, unless a client is willing to listen. Because sometimes, in most cases, I look at it as a collaboration. I'm the storyteller, and you're bringing in your product, or rather your idea, for us to work together. So there has to be teamwork in everything. So yeah, the whole idea of clients wanting to do something in a certain straight way without involving me, that's my biggest pet peeve. So looking back at my first photo, rather film, and my current ones, I'd say the biggest thing I notice is I'm more keen and attentive to detail. I've evolved, yeah, so detail, I mean, there's so much post-production, how I tell the stories, I'd say it's a different to me. When it comes to art in the Kenyan space, I think it's just different because it boils down from spaces to people. The landscapes are different. If I go to Meru, I'll get a different landscape. If I go to the coastal area, I'll get a different landscape. Same with people. Like if I'm shooting people in Nairobi and I have a friend who's shooting people in Mombasa, you can definitely see there's a huge difference when it comes to, apart from the physical, just how people behave. So the art space is, depending on the where you are based, it's always different. When starting off, I had a couple of friends I'd look up to when shooting. People I just hang out with, the likes of Mutua Madheka, Sarah Wiswa, Samir Dave. I mean, they're those photographers who, on the weekends, we just decide, let's go shoot. They're the people that I'd easily raise a glass to because they were accommodative. I know the space is always competitive. So trying to go to someone, asking them, how do you do this? How is this done? How would I do? Most of the people are always, it's either trying to push you away or not even tell you. But this couple of friends, I mean, they helped me with zero, wanting nothing in return. It was just friendship. So they're one of those few people I'd easily raise a glass to. I mean, I know there's some I haven't mentioned, but yeah. So my parting shot to any photographer, upcoming, beginner, or in the field is consistency is key. It doesn't have to be a paid gig. As a hobbyist, just wake up, go shoot. Shoot anything and everything. That's how I started off, shooting my cup of coffee, walking out, shooting flowers, landscapes, until I found something that works for me. Sometimes I feel like as photographers or beginners, we try to ride waves, we worry about what the other person is thinking about or what they say about me. So just be you, be authentic to yourself. If you feel like black and white works for you, shoot everything in black and white. If you feel like shooting upside down works for you, do that. That's how you see the world, or that's how you want to tell your stories. So be you without feeling that X will judge me for how I do my work. That and being persistent will take you places.